Welcome back in live to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We're back. Just finished up week 3 for most of these teams. Michigan in particular looked great against Northern Illinois. Running game continues to be one of the best, if not the best in the country. Blake Corum continues his Heisman campaign, which I would expect to start picking up some steam as we move into Big Ten play. And it also seems like he's kind of emerging as that featured back. Obviously, Hassan Haskins and Donovan Edwards will work in. Hassan Haskins more or less than Donovan Edwards, but Blake Corum led the team in touches, and it kind of looks like we want to get him featured. Dill, we're going to start with you for some bigger takeaways. What did you think of the game? How do we look?
So the thing that obviously jumps out to me, our defense continued to play at a really, really high level. But really, I think the big takeaway is they kind of opened it up a little bit and let Cade McNamara get the ball down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And in fairness, I thought he played really pretty good. He obviously had the long touchdown to Cornelius Johnson and in just making every other throw you'd want, those deep comebacks to the outside, that pass to Eric All, that's huge. If we can hit that Eric All up the seam and really take advantage of his athleticism and size, that'll really kind of excite me. So I saw some things I really liked. I think that one pass to Cornelius Johnson that looked like it was overthrown, that seemed like it may have been a tracking issue, honestly, because that looked like a decent throw to me. And I just don't know if Johnson tracked it. He caught it a little late and just couldn't get there. But yeah, just what I took away is Cade McNamara looked really sharp, really has a much better arm than I think I give him credit for. He can get the ball to all points of the field with pretty good velocity. So that was kind of my takeaways is they kind of let it rip, and he was up to the task, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, let's start at the quarterback position. He looks good, and I'm happy to see Jim and Coach Gaddis let him open it up, let him rip it a little bit. I'll pose this question to you because I think I was thinking about it. I'm home from work this morning. 3rd and 8. We need to play. So a 3rd and 8 against Ohio State. Need to play to continue. Need to convert to keep the drive alive. Who are we throwing the ball to? Who do you got? Who's emerging?
Yeah, as of now, you got to think it's Johnson.
I agree.
He seems like the guy. I wish we'd see a little bit more out of Sanders. I mean, I know who actually did play well was Roman Wilson. He'd had a quiet year, but he was out there. I know he caught at least one ball. I don't remember his exact stat line, but
2 for 26.
Yeah, so he kind of started to work his way back into the offense, which I think would be really good. I mean, he seems like the other guy on the edge who could really be a solid weapon. I think Sandra Still and Henning are a bit more slot guys, get him in swing passes, especially Henning, who's more of a ball carrier, if you will, or that's at least how he's being used, and he's been very effective. So no,
he's very
shade on him. He's electric with the ball. I love watching him run it. And those we've now taken 2 reverses for 20 plus. One was a 75-yard touchdown in the Western Michigan game. So I like what I saw from the offense. I mean, Eric All, just that catch was really encouraging. We need him to be that guy. And
I was thinking about that. So I was thinking about that question. My problem with Cornelius Johnson is he's not very – at least I'm not saying he can't do this, but we haven't proven to use him in different spots on the field. Primarily is a boundary wide receiver, lines up outside the numbers and goes to work, and he's really good at that. I mean, I see a lot of flashes of Nico Collins with his ball skill and his ability to catch contested, stretching the defense vertically.
But he gets good separation on those outside routes, in the intermediate range.
We just don't use him anywhere else. He is just a primary boundary receiver.
That's fine with me because I feel like him and Roman are really the only two. Baldwin did play it a little bit yesterday. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not as sold on him. He doesn't look like he has quite the athleticism to really be a dynamic threat in the against the big dogs. I know Roman Wilson can flat out fly. I know Cornelius Johnson can do his thing against the big boys, and I don't know. Baldwin he does look a little slower, a little less able to get open on top tier corners. And obviously we haven't really seen him play because he didn't play at all against Washington. But
so do you want to know who my second pick is? I think Cornelius is right. I was thinking it's probably Cornelius. My second pick is Eric All, kind of up the seam, letting him run some option routes or getting him open more in the slot where we've been lining him up. He's turning out. I don't think he's dropped a single ball in the year. Granted, it's probably only 5 or 6 catches on the year, but he's starting to look really good catching it in the middle. And that was a huge problem last year is his drops. He's looked very comfortable and very able to catch in the middle. And he's one of those guys who's a very good athlete and tough to match up with that size and speed. And so he's kind of a guy that I'm looking to, kind of like watching Travis Kelce last night. Like, I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce, but having a tight end who can do that and be such a nightmare matchup is massive.
Yeah, that'd be huge if we can get something out of him to go with the run game. There's not much to say about it besides that it's still just humming and our offensive line's bullying people. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like against. Washington's a very good front. I'm excited to see what it looks like as we get into Big Ten play. Rutgers,
Wisconsin will be the big test.
Wisconsin. If we can run the ball against Wisconsin, we probably can run it against anybody in the country. So
yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I was happy. I was just happy to see Cade have a good game put together. Just have some really good throws. I thought that throw when he was rolling out down at the end zone, that was an encouraging throw. Had a lot of velocity.
People don't give accurate. Again, JJ McCarthy has sick arm talent, but like people don't give Cade enough credit for like being accurate and like good thrower too. Everyone I think thinks of him as a game manager. He's kind of proven us wrong, making that throw up the boundary to Cornelius and some other solid throws. Okay, let's flip the side. Let's talk about a little bit about the defense that continues to just be absolutely dominant. Who jumped out at you this Saturday? Who do you want to talk about?
I still think the guy who's leading the way is Dax Hill. In the back end, I think Hutchinson, like, he obviously played. I think him and Hutch are the two guys, like, they're kind of steering the ship, if you will. Hutch didn't have a statistical wild game by any means, but we were going 3 and out almost every time they touched it, and
they barely threw a drop back. They
didn't have much.
Threw it 17 times, I think. Exactly. I think what you said too is like 3 and outs every drive, so it's like defense really wasn't on the field that much.
RJ Moton, I did notice, had probably his best game. I thought he was more as involved as he's been. A couple good tackles in space, which is kind of what we're going to need from him. And it's hard to judge anyone else because they really couldn't throw at all. Like, I was happy to see us get a takeaway with the Gamon Green interception. So
yeah, fine.
But I was just like dominant. Had to like throughout the whole way. They really couldn't do anything. So it's hard to say anyone like made big plays or whatever. It's just everything we did, they just had no answer for.
Who was it Hawkins that dropped a pick this game? And would hit him right in his hands.
Yep. That was a good play. That would have been a really hard pick.
No, he had 2 hands. I thought if he drops that against like a Wisconsin, Ohio State, like I think he's got to make that play. And he's a guy who's just getting so close. He's had 2 now that it's like he's gotten 2 hands on it. And granted, they're not like free picks, but like you're a 5th-year senior captain on this team, you got to make those plays. And that might be hard on him, but those are plays that, you catch that and you house that changes the game.
Also, let's just, I think, wildly important is we are not getting any penalties anymore, which is obviously just a night and day difference from last year, where we were getting like 4+ a game minimum, where we could not play defense on a ball in the air without PIs and holdings.
Our secondary is phenomenal. I
don't
know what it is. I think it's a combination of probably 3 things. One, a new scheme. So like letting guys maybe be a little bit more successful sitting in zone as opposed to just strictly man, giving quarterbacks those different looks. But I think Dax Hill moving to that slot is just so big. You kind of, I mean, we were playing like I don't know. I really don't think of it as like a 4-3. I think of it more as like a 4-2-5. Like we have pretty much 5 DBs on the field. Dax Hill playing that like nickel spot, and then
exactly.
RJ Moton and Hawkins in the back. And it's I like it. We're faster, we're better in coverage, and we're still stopping the run at a high level because Josh Ross is probably one of the best box linebackers in the country. So
and Nakai Hill-Green, the emergence of him is huge because he looks really good to me. And it seems like however we're doing it, we're covering running backs and not giving up that much to passing to those players who really killed us last year. Like teams throwing swing passes and using their running backs on our linebackers.
Oh, the tackling.
Yeah. And just straight up having a deep, really good defensive line is obviously making a massive difference. Like we have like 3 waves of D tackles who can all play at a high level, and it just looks. I mean, last year the only guys you could really count on were Hinton. Jeter was solid, and I mean, who else really? Carlos Kemp was solid.
Dude, Mozzie Smith's been so
good. So maybe
too.
we had 3 guys. Now we have like 6. Mozzie Smith's balling.
And I think also like always going to help your defense if your offense can stay on the field for an extended period of time. And we're doing just driving on teams. We're just marching.
No turnovers.
There's a reason Wisconsin's defense puts out the best defensive numbers all year. It's like they win the time possession every game they play. We're doing
exactly
as opposed to Joe Milton just throwing 3 incompletions and that defense trots back out on the field. So
I mean, just the whole nature of everything just looks really good. Also, what about Henning returning punts?
Yeah, finally.
Like, why was Kolazar returning punts against Washington? That's the stupidest. Like Jim saying he has good hands like that. I didn't catch a punt all game. He's just letting them all bounce.
They said he's the safest and he has good hands, and like he muffed one and then let one bounce. Like it's like
crazy.
He's not like very comfortable there.
Like, get the ball in Henning's hands. Guy's electric.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled that we've been calling for it since Ronnie went.
Yeah, I know you mentioned it. You're like, well, like what is Henning? Why is he not taking punts? Because you obviously can.
Yeah,
and I think we showed. So I better not.
Been phenomenal in general. I think our punt coverage has been good. Robbins didn't punt once, I don't think, last game, but
Moody hammered a kick. So
Moody's looking good kicking. Blake Corum's looking phenomenal returning kicks. And AJ Henning now with the punt. I'm liking what we're seeing.
So we're just kind of clicking. Yeah, I love what's going on.
Not to skip around, and we'll probably close on this for like a recap of the game. Donovan Edwards looks good. Looks good.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be tough to deny him care. It's like you got 3 guys who I'm all comfortable with them too. I mean, I think Blake Corum has emerged as really stand out better than the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Edwards won't catch him possibly next year when he's a true sophomore.
I don't think Edwards. I don't know. I think Blake Corum's special. I don't see Donovan Edwards really catching him in general. I think Blake Corum is like a special running back who has like the potential to be one of the best running backs we've had in a really long time in Michigan. I think one thing I'll note, and to end the show on, is Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins balance each other out really well. I think Hassan Haskins is just a phenomenal short yardage running back. And it's not even that he's that powerful. I just think he has a really good ability to like be really effective in tight holes, in tight spaces, kind of find the soft spot and just get the first down on 3rd and 1. And then Blake Corum is just having a running back who can take it 50 yards for a touchdown anytime he touches it is just so big. And he legit can. I mean, he runs the ball hard, but he also has that burn away speed, and he kind of makes somebody miss. And I think that NIU Ronnie House, the safety just took a bad angle. And like it's so easy to take a bad angle on Blake Corum when you run a 4.40. And so I mean, I legit like, and
I mean, not that it's super big deal, but you can split him out. He's like a legitimate like slot receiver. I mean, now I've seen him with a few solid, like he just can do a lot of different things, and his ability to catch, I think, is really important because especially as we get into the bigger Big Ten teams, if you want to like spread out of Wisconsin, you can just extend your run game to swing passes and other screens or short passes and just anything to get him in space, and he's super comfortable catching. So I think that allows him to be really dynamic against different schemes and in different styles of play.
Yeah. Is there any other thing you want to mention before we close out the show?
A little frustrated that why did it take this long to get like this type of atmosphere and coaching staff, that it just seems like everything's looser and like not as much panic and like stodgy like old person football. So I it's a little like frustrating now looking back, like why did we just have 70-year-old coordinators and coaches who were obviously not even close to getting the best out of anybody. And I mean, just the sheer difference this year, like letting go some of the old dudes, Warner, Don Brown, I think it's Mike Zordich, the secondary coach. So we letting go of all these guys who are really ineffective, like old school coaches. And I just wish we made this transition earlier, like more of the younger, like different call, just bringing something different than what essentially Jim is, because Jim is an old school coach, but I think the energy pairing him up with guys like Josh Gaddis, guys like Steve Klinkscale and Mike McDonald, that like younger coaches who do seem to bring more energy and more, I'd almost say like a lighter nature to the field. I wish this happened earlier because I love the way everything looks. And I get that we've been playing weaker teams, but still, I mean, it just looks like just different vibe. Jim doesn't seem as uptight. I mean, he's making jokes in press conferences now, and I'm hoping that leads to less like tight play that we've seen with like fumbles and other mistakes that have been really costly against big teams.
Yeah, I agree. The players seem to have it's like a newfound confidence and just are carrying themselves a little differently. So you love to see that. And I think it is a result of the kind of those younger coaches getting some new blood in there. I agree. We're about to find out. Rutgers Saturday, Wisconsin next week. Rutgers is a sleepy, not sleepy, a low key, like people are sleeping on that team. They're good. They're a solid football team. I liked them during summer scouting. They covered the spread against Syracuse for us. They haven't looked as good as I might have thought they would have looked, but they're going to be a good test to see how well we can run.
John will have him fighting the big dogs. I know he will. That's where he thrives.
Yeah, he had him fighting last year. So I'm excited for the game. And we'll see if we can kind of continue this rushing attack that's just so good. Without further ado, we'll let you guys go. Appreciate you hanging with us, talking some Michigan football. We'll be back talking Michigan next week after that Rutgers game. We'll talk to you then. Peace.